There's a lot of work for your father. It's a lot of work for me. It's expensive. Why do you want to play college soccer so badly?
I would like to play college soccer. I find it enjoyable when I play, especially when kids my level understand the game, and to also help also for the benefits for college based on depending on what my major is going to be around math and science types. So
Okay. Yes. Well said. So we're thinking STEM. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Excellent. And the club team you're playing for right now, what level are they?
So he was between teams. So right now we just tried out. They want us to come back. USPL, is that, or
UPSL? UPSL.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What UPSL team? What's it called?
Union SC.
Okay, and are they affiliated with the youth club as well, or they're on their own?
Yeah, they own the whole.
They own the whole thing. So the youth club, before you talk about the UPSL team, the one that's your age, what level are they playing at? EDP, E64.
Oh, the younger, the lower brackets. I think they're all EDP, like lower level EDPs.
Cool. Okay, super helpful. I played in UPSL myself, so I'm pretty familiar with it. Okay, super helpful. So let me ask your son, going back to this, or let me ask your father, would you agree with me that academics come first?
Oh, yeah. My eldest son gave up soccer because he got into the right school.
Excellent. And that's what I want too. Now, as it happens, your son loved this son, and maybe your other son did too, but this son really loves soccer. And if I asked you, this is for Dean, if I said to you, you're going to have to quit soccer for school, would you be sad?
Yeah, but if it's for a better life and career, I would definitely take that up.
Good. That's a good answer. But some part of you would go, I wish I could have both, good school and a good education. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason I bring that up is the goal here is that that's what we find, because then your last high school game won't be your last game of your life. And that is kind of the goal. We'd like you to be able to, find the right team for you, so on and so forth. However, that's not always easy to do. So what I want to do is, and then your father, you would agree as well that academics come first. Let me ask your father, academics come first. We could make him quit soccer tomorrow and just focus on school. How come you want to help him, play college soccer?
I guess it comes to Dean. Obviously we're gonna have to disclose it. Dean has dyslexia. And soccer was the only way for him to really have friends and socialize. The way that school runs it, it's going to be quiet. Like they keep them quiet, separated from the quote unquote cool kids. And it's always been a good source of really good friendships, really good relationships, as well as with the coaches. We've been lucky and unlucky at times with some of the best coaches that kind of take Dean under the wing and really like him. So we like that structure. We're hoping that with soccer, if he does play, he'll be away from downtime as opposed to, just focusing. The downtime will be focused on academics, because I know they have a very structured day in most soccer programs, in the good soccer programs, I should say.
Yes, very well said. Very well said. Okay, super helpful. And so if it's okay with you guys, I kind of want to give you a diagnosis on where I think you stand now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Now, when I do this, I'm just one opinion. So I'm not going to tell you my opinion is harsh, but there's an argument for that. But anyway, I'm going to have you take my opinion for what it's worth, and then you guys can always go find another doctor and get another opinion. So my opinion on your situation is this. I like your son's video. We're going to go over it. It's quite good. My concern is this. Because of his great grades, we don't want him to go to any random school. Because of the level he's playing, and I think he's well above the level, which is why you're being invited to play UPSL. But even despite being above the level, the exposure rate with the EDPs and US Youth Soccer is very limited. So to go to a top academic, like if you're talking a top academic like a Chicago or a Tufts or NYU, to be honest, I don't think those are realistic. If you go a step kind of below those, which there are a lot of very good top academic programs with great math, science, engineering degrees, that is for sure realistic at the D3, D2 level. Now, D2 is its own animal because there is some schools that are really good in certain degrees and then less so. So really, for academic purposes, D3 is where we're at. Now, Division I soccer, from the video you've sent me and from what I've seen, I don't think is realistic today. Part of it has to do with your lack of interest from other schools. To give you an idea, we have 326s who are committed and they're done. So to have no phone calls, not been invited on any visits is red flags for me. Now, when I do this diagnosis, I put you in 2 categories. Category 1 is, what do I think of your video? And category 2 is, what will a college coach think of your video? So I want to share my screen for a minute. You're a good out your Division 2, like nobody would debate it. However, Division 1's a different animal. So first of all, it's too long. Nobody's going to watch the rest of this. I know staff productions really well and they make it all fancy, but they miss some really key points. One of which is your club level. To not have your club level in your video is a really big problem across the board. So, okay, let's get past that. Now the video. Look, like I said, you're a good player. There's actually a clip I really like. Watch it. You fall down, you knock somebody over. This one. This is phenomenal. This is Division 1. Super strength, like he fouled you, right back up, and then you play forward. I mean, this is really good. So I'm not surprised the UPSL wants you, because those are grown men typically, but UPSL gets no exposure. It only is good for video. And your high school is also no exposure. So if you want to play college soccer, what I would tell you is this. Division 3, higher level academic, is very realistic. Division 2, also realistic. Division 1 is going to be very much on how many offers do you get before June, July. And offers is a strong word. I would say significant interest. Phone calls, visits, pre-reads, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess I want to ask you, when I tell you this diagnosis to your son, let's just assume you agree with me for a minute. Would you say, wow, good to know, I want to quit? Or do you say, okay, it's good diagnosis?
Good diagnosis, and I agree with some of the parts that D1 might be out of the reach, but it's not out of the picture. So
And that is a strategic thing. To give you an idea, the reason I bring it up, I played JV soccer as a junior in high school, and I was playing EDP as a junior. I went on to get a full ride to play Division 1. I am the first person to believe in people and think anything is possible, but not naively. I'm not going to go, it's just going to happen because you're so good. You know, you have to do stuff. You have to make more video. For example, when I go look at more video view, I can't. It just goes to staff productions, and that does not work for me. So you need your own YouTube. I know we need an Instagram. And this also brings me back to, I know you've emailed schools and whatnot, but to have no phone calls at this stage as a top academic.
No, we haven't reached out to anybody yet.
Okay, even further to the point. Maybe that's why. Maybe tomorrow you reach out to schools and you're on your way. But the other beauty is, because you haven't yet, technically, to me personally, you're a blank sheet of paper. You're like an uncooked chicken. You haven't done anything wrong yet. Your first impression is important, including your video, which needs a self-interview. It has to be fixed. The order I'd like to change. If you prefer a fancy thing like staff did for you, I don't do the fancy stuff like that, because college coaches just want to see the video. The first clip has to be a soccer clip. Then the second clip is a self-interview with the correct information. Then the order of the videos, I'm going to adjust a little bit, and I'm going to split this in half because it needs to be fixed. And then I'm going to need more video from you over time. So my diagnosis is, you can play college soccer at a good Division 3 school from what I've seen. Division 1 is out of reach, but we can take steps to get there, but we have to create a strategy for that. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
Now, when you say strategy, what are you talking about? Training strategy?
Great question. Can I show you that actually?
Sure.
Okay. So with your son, this is what I think you need to do, whether you work with me or whether you don't work with me. This to me is kind of the non-negotiable of the situation you're in my opinion. And again, there are other opinions you can have as well. So share my screen. Okay. So the first one is his video. I got to fix his video. That's a problem. The second one is, you're about to email a bunch of schools. I'm going to give you a list of the top academic Division 3 schools that you have to email. These are the best schools. Now, the tier 1 list, which is here, statistically, you have to be playing at these levels. Otherwise, they're pretty much are not going to pay attention to you. Now,
If I can interrupt you one second.
Please, yeah.
Real quick. When Dean was in 8th grade, he was playing MLS Next.
I can tell because he's a good soccer player.
Right.
My-
Just got injured, and
And the soccer world is not fair. Look, like I told you, I was playing JV soccer. I obviously was still good, but I'm 5'6". Nobody really thought I was any good. My dad's a surfer. You know, he didn't know anything about soccer. So
Gotcha.
I appreciate it. I'm with you. And I know this sounds even worse, but your name is your father's name is Omar Ali, your last name is Ali.
I'm Felix Ali. Yeah.
Oh,
but-
Felix Ali, but it's a weird name. They're going to assume you don't speak English. That's going to be their first impression of you.
Wow.
Mine too. I'm Zev. Zev is weird. So a
Yeah.
self-interview, a Zev is Hebrew name,
Okay.
Israeli
Oh,
name.
so-
Mhm.
all right. So we're neighbors.
We're neighbors. That's right.
Okay,
And
very
because
cool.
of it, and it's unfortunate, but to ignore it is naive, is my point. So this is why we talk about a strategy, is why I want to sell. Your son's got great grades. He's going to study to do something amazing. They need to feel that, and I can feel that while I'm talking to you. I go, oh, great kid, nice guy. Even though he pushed that guy over, he's not going to be a dick off the field.
Oh, he got hit, actually. He's the one that got hit.
He's the one that got hit. You're so right. But he didn't have any attitude. And so I was like, this is the kid. This is what I love about, when I find the right kid. So I appreciate you interrupting me. It's to say, even for us to argue in his email, we might need to mention it. I played MLS Next and I'm really good. And this is what we need to talk about. So here, the video is one. Second, you guys saw, I don't know if your son saw this, so I want to show him. We have this email system, which allows us to work very quickly. And one of the things I want to do with your son is I'm going to give you a list. It's going to be the top academic schools within your major or majors if you're thinking of STEM. We're going to press select all. We're going to click write emails. And we're going to go, dear #coach, #genuine. And then I'm going to tell you what to say. I might even mention, MLS Next in 8th grade. That's a big deal. It just is. That's just how it's political, as you guys know. It's not about who's the best. It's what's the perception of the best. And then you click preview. It will automatically put the coach's name. It will automatically, Dean, write something genuine for you with some of our help. And we'll tell you what to say. And then it goes to every single coach from your own Gmail. That's what's important. And every time nobody responds to you, you get a reminder saying they didn't respond to you. And then all you have to do is you can click here and it will go to your inbox and you can literally click reply from your own Gmail, but through this system. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So the beauty is it too, every time you receive an email, it will automatically get organized as genuine, generic, first email, whether you have to follow up with them, and it will save every camp you get invited to because you're going to get invited to camps and you're going to have to go to camp. But to your father's point with the budget and life, I don't want you to go to every camp on earth that just says we'd love to have you at camp. I want us to measure every email we get and go, hey, like the way I'm talking to you, I really like your video. I love that one moment. Could you please come to my camp? I'd love to see you. That's what we're aiming for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we got to narrow down your list. So I'm going to make your list pretty big. We're going to give you the top academic D3s for a couple reasons. You're not playing at the traditional levels that people like necessarily. UPSL is one thing we can leverage, though. UPSL is, we have to talk about it, but it's definitely a leverage point because you're playing with men who, many of which are playing college soccer. So I understand the level's really good. But college coaches, unfortunately, they don't get it for many different reasons. But the point is to tell you, when you go to camp, you're going to be one of the best kids there. And they're going to go up to you and they're going to ask you some questions. That's when I need you to have a little baby elevator pitch that I will give you, mentioning a version of MLS Next potentially and things like that, because they need to go, oh, you're the exception to the rule because of distance, finances, where you were born. You don't get to play ECNL and MLS Next, but you're still good. And we have to let them know that, life happens and you're still good, just like I did when I was playing JV soccer. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then
All right.
we talk about your list. I'm going to make your list pretty big. And we do want you to eventually narrow down what STEM you want to focus on because there's many different ones. But then also we do this process because we got to find out who do you like. And then one of the things we talked about already together is, you are top academic. Would you guys agree with me? You have agreed with me that academics come first. But because your son loves soccer, unless I make him quit today, the coach is going to be the most important factor if he plays soccer. Because if he's miserable, he's going to be miserable no matter what he's studying. And we don't want him to go to school for college and not play for 4 years. And my younger brother, his name's Ari. My brother's Zev Ari Noah. And Ari played college soccer and he didn't play a single minute, not one bloody minute. And it was really frustrating because the coach it was a D3 school, was heavily recruited, gave him a bunch of academic money to compensate, to show like, hey, we like you as an athlete. And the coach, my brother's short like me. And the coach, we didn't know better because I was 19 and he was 17. The assistant coach loved him. The head coach didn't like him that much. We didn't know that till he got there. And then he didn't play a minute. And it was obviously he was miserable. And of course, we thought of transferring, but the education was so good and it was being paid for, all those things. Now I play with my brother every day. And actually, my brother and I, we own a UPSL team together.
Oh, really?
So we love the UPSL, and actually there's a meeting today with them. And I play soccer for fun at this point, but just all the time because I love playing soccer. So my point is to say, I don't want that for anybody else that had happened to my brother. And on the flip side, my experience was my coach, my father had a heart attack when I was in college. He's okay, but my coach acted like my father. He was like, it's going to be okay, Zev, and we'll support you and it will help you. And I also met my longtime girlfriend in college, and, college would change my life. And then even playing pro, which I did get to do, the reason I don't help people play pro soccer is college really had a huge impact on my emotional life. I do what I do now because of that experience. So having said that, I want to ask your son a question here. Have I managed to scare you away? You got to fix your video. We got to send hundreds of emails. We have to follow up with them. I'm telling you right now, we're going up against the hill. Although I do think you're the level, camps are going to be important. Have I managed to scare you away?
No, not really. I still have the same position.
Okay. Sorry, Dad. That would have made things a little easier. So that is to say this, and I want to answer your guys' questions, which I know you have, but I want to show you what it looks like to work with me specifically for your son on a day-to-day. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So on a day-to-day, this is what it's going to look like for you, Mr. Dean, if you choose to, and if we choose to work together, which we'll find out in a minute. So the first thing is you're going to get a coach plus me. The reason there's two of us is I mentioned there's this new NCAA rule. So like next week, I'm going to be gone, technically gone. I'll have my phone, of course, but I'll be gone next week going to NCAA conferences going, what is this new rule? So for example, for you, have you guys heard about the new rule?
The amount they're cutting down the D1.
Yes, exactly. The roster cut. So that's making everything this, like yesterday, I got 10 calls from kids who told me they've been cut from their team and they are going to have to enter the portal. I do work with transfers, but really limited, like a very few, because I like to work with high school kids. But like, to be honest with you, this has never happened before in the last 25 years of any rules changing in the NCAA from a recruiting perspective. So my point is that's my job. I have to go find out what that means, how it's going to affect you as a 26. Are there some schools are going to be able to opt out of it? Some schools are going to disappear and just no longer exist. So that's my job. So I'm working for you over here. I'm also going to edit all your videos. I have to write all your emails. I have to review all your emails. But your coach is who you're going to talk to every day. And your coach that we're going to assign you to played at a top academic and then was actually worked with me for many years, then his coach for many years. And he's a top academic student like yourself and did not play the MLS Next and the ECNLs of the world that aren't fair to the system, but do exist. Then you're going to communicate with us on Discord. So for your father, everything we do is going to be through this app. I can show you what it looks like. The reason we do everything through the app is because we're about to do a lot of emails for various reasons, mainly because, we have to send a lot of emails and we just have to do a lot of communication. So one of the things it will look like, your father will get his own channel just with you and me, Dad, and then we'll have another channel for your son. So this is one of our coaches. He's going to meet with this student on Sunday, and we message all the time in this channel. And your father will have another channel, just you and I without your son. So if you want to tell me, hey, we don't want to go to this camp, but my son wants to, we can shepherd your son in the right direction. Although I know you guys will communicate, but we want you all to see what we're doing. We're not hiding anything. It's just important because we have a lot of work to do, and it's important that you see it. And then the final piece is we edit all your videos. So I know you have made your video, which good job. I couldn't have talked to you today without it, but we do need a lot more of it. And one of your skill sets, you're an attacking minded player, is a highlight video does you justice as an appetizer. Okay, the kid's good, but I don't really know everything about you unless you watch the whole video like I did, but most coaches are not going to do that. So you have to do what are called every touch videos. So you take a full game, condense it to every touch you took, and you send that out pretty consistently to the Division I's and our top list of schools. So that way, every 2 months they go, here's a video, here's an Instagram, here's a video, here's an Instagram, here's a Twitter, over and over again. So when you decide to go to their camp, they know who you are. Because if you just go to camp cold, that's a recipe for disaster in most cases. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we do want to go through game videos. So as it happens, I'm going to review a lot of your games. I'm going to make social media clips for you. I'm going to make all the video for you, but I'm going to watch a lot of games, and I played college and I played pro, and so did your coach. And we want to help you and go, hey, in this moment, we need more clips of this because this is what coaches want. Eventually, a coach is going to request a 15-minute unedited version. That's the goal. that means they really like us and they really want to see more. So that's kind of what we're heading towards. And then you're going to get a Google Drive, and it's going to look a little bit like this. This was a student. We started with them as a junior. And they're senior. They've committed since now, but this is kind of what their document looked like. And we want yours to look pretty similar. Is you're going to have this Google document with kind of every step that we're going to take through this process. They're top academic as well. And we meet. And every time we meet, you're going to get a recording, Dad, of the meeting. So you can say what we talked about, and then you're going to get a to-do list. Please do XYZ. Please call Colgate. Please have a message with Columbia. This student was playing at those levels and actually played USL 2, which is one step above UPSL, which we can talk about later. But this is, the work we have to do, and we have to keep it really organized. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask your son, look, we don't work with that many students. Your coach will have 4 other kids. As a total, we work with about 30 to 40 kids. It fluctuates just because some kids will take a gap year or some kids will get committed early, and so it just fluctuates. But in saying that, I want to ask your son, why do you think you're a good fit to work with me? We don't work with many kids. Tell me a little bit about why I know you're going to put in the work.
At a very young age, I've always had that mentality since I grew up watching Barcelona. My dad always found out about the 6-second rule, about if you lose the ball in Barcelona, you have 6 seconds to chase it.
The press.
So I grew up with that. So it also played into my school. So I never really liked losing the ball. And even as a striker, I don't like, if I make a bad mistake, I would run down the field to fix my mistake, but then I put our team in bad positioning. So I just think it's my mentality is there. My work ethic is also there. It's just the way to get there is a bit confusing and blocked.
Yeah, well said. And one of the things, look, the clip I showed you of your son doing the awesome, I'm sharing my screen here in a minute, when he gets knocked over and gets back up. I mean, there's not a better character that any coach could want. Now, I'm not saying it'll be the first clip because there's other good clips he has, but I do want to make sure coaches see versions of that over time because it's really good. So let me ask your father the same question. Why do you think your son is a good fit to work with us?
Well, we need a lot, like you're a lot more structured other than some of the other recruiters we've spoken to. It seems like you have your software together, you have a plan together, you've been there, and you're not playing it by ear. You're not like, okay, I'm just going to reach out to a bunch of the guys. I'm not paying for your cell phone contacts, and I don't want that. I want, like you said, like I like the idea, the software where it's finding the right schools, but then we got to make sure it's not just we're sending emails. So it will be a little bit of, I'm hoping you have both the cell phone and the software to help get, hey, look, did you see, we really want him. Because honestly, I'm not a big fan, like you said, of camps. I know they're a cash grab, especially if you're coming in cold. And that was a mistake we made with our older son. I think we did 2 when I was done. And, they were cheap, but still they can add up. And I think it was very disheartening because he was really disappointed when, you don't get any, special invite, but, they really even speak to him. That's what I like about you guys, or, what I see about working with you guys. My only concern, if I may,
please,
now,
yeah, this is the time.
I know our financial budget in regards to not your expense, because you kind of said it's around $5,000. I know, like with my older son in college, he should be out of college by the time Dean's ready to go to college. So I know I can afford about $4,500 a semester.
Okay.
So D3, depending on how much money they give him, I don't know if they're going to give him the money for the dorms.
Yes,
that would
well
leave
said.
a lot of schools right away.
Yeah.
Because again, he had offers. He just chose not to take up those offers because I was going to spend $20,000 for him to go to school to play soccer in a degree they don't have.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make sense.
He's 20 minutes away from, we're less than 20 minutes away from NJIT and he commutes every day.
Totally.
And
totally. Okay, super helpful. So here's what I would say, and this is unfortunate in some ways, but even with my help, we're going to pay more than $4,500 a month, or a year rather, or a semester.
A semester, yeah. So $9,000 a year.
$9,000 a year. The only way to do that is if you go to junior college or you go to a state school. Typically, even with soccer. And typically, like to give you an idea, our students typically, especially with your son's grades, he's going to get a minimum, if we get recruited and we do the job right, a minimum of 60 to 250 because he's got above a 3.7. That's kind of our record. But that typically the reason you get that much scholarship in many ways is because they're private institutions and they have the money to give. Like my scholarship was half academic, half athletic, and it was a total of $250,000, which is of course a lot, but the school cost 70. So it was expensive. So it did pay for most of it, but my parents had to pay for food and room and board and books and things like that. So what I want to be honest with you is to say that and it's good to have a budget, as you mentioned, the only schools that would fit in that budget, even with soccer, are state schools and junior college for 2 years, save up money, then go finish your last 2 years at a 4-year institution. And so to be honest with you, as much as I want to help your son and I like him, my model will not get you to a scholarship where you're only paying $9,000 a year. It's not realistic. I won't be able to achieve that for you. So because of that, here's another idea for you, because I really like you guys. I like your son. And I don't typically do this, but this is this link I'm going to give you is a different model. So instead, you get a 1-hour call with us. You're going to get the email system that you can use on your own. You have a good video. We will give you a video editing system if you want to use it. We will also tell you what to fix in your video, like the order and make sure you put we'll tell you what to do. And we can also tell you how to do every touch videos. And you can still message us on Discord. The only thing you don't get is we won't edit, and we won't be able to meet with you more than once. We just can do the one-time call. And this is $5.99, but if you use the code Dean, then it's $4.99. And to be honest with you guys, with what you're doing, this would enable your son to use the system. It's very detailed. You're going to get directions on what the email should say. I'll show you what it looks like real quick. You're going to get directions on what the email should say, and you can still talk to us via Discord as much as you want. You'll get a coach who will help you through it. You'll get this document, which literally says like how to write your mass email, what the template should exactly be, how to follow up. It's very detailed. It's built so you don't need me. But I think, to be honest with you, I cannot justify, like you should not, as much as I'd love to work with you, you should not work with me full time. It doesn't matter. I cannot achieve your goals. But this other model would give you the chance to do it on your own to the best of your ability.
What's a realistic budget then?
Good question. Realistic budget is $20 a year.
Which is basically the room and board.
Yeah, a minimum of the room and board. 20 to 25 is pretty much everybody's going to pay that pretty much every year.
Okay. And that's cash usually.
Yes. I mean, they have payments, and of course you could take a loan. You can do other things, of course, but yeah, typically that's what it'll be. And now the other question, let me ask your son real quick. Forget working with me. This is just a life question. You mentioned STEM. What do you think you want to do?
Tell them what you would like to do, but what's your default because of
I would have liked to be a veterinarian, but I'm kind of allergic to almost all animals.
Okay, that's going to be a tough one. All right, so then plan B is which one?
Like maybe it's a type of doctor.
Okay, so pre-med, what we're talking about. So one way or another, he's going, if he stays that path, which is amazing, he's taking a loan one way or another. So the question is, to your son, how much do you want to take a loan? How much do you want to play soccer? One way or another, as much scholarship as I can get you to a great school that would help you get into med school, which would be the goal. And being an athlete doesn't necessarily get you into med school, but they love athletes because they are typically healthy and care about the body and everything else. So it's helpful for getting into med school. But, one way or another, you're looking at more school, number one. And number two, you're looking at some type of loan arrangement, which as you know, you're not the first and you won't be the last. Everybody, I still had to take some part of a loan and had to pay it back eventually because I went to grad school. So I think that's kind of where our dilemma is at the minute when I say, hey, full time, I want to feel confident I can achieve your goals, and I won't be able to achieve, 9 a year, but 20, 25 a year, I think it's realistic. On the flip side, though, I gave you this other model and you guys can do almost everything I do, but on your own.
All right. All right. Zev, I mean, number one, let me thank you for taking the time to speak to us and explaining everything to us. I really liked the way you did it. You weren't pushy.
Did you guys talk to NCSA before? Or was that the other agency?
No, and NCR.
Oh yeah, I know them too.
NCR, as well as Prospect to Player.
Yeah, I know them too.
And I like the way how you broke down, like you actually have a system. I'm not saying that they don't. I mean, we don't know because we haven't explored it yet. But I like the. It's not just about the price. It's about, what's the whole. What am I getting?
For sure.
How many camps are we gonna have to go to?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. Like you'll definitely have to go to a minimum of 5 for sure, 100%. A minimum of 5, absolutely. And also, I'll tell you, any D1 camps are a waste of time for you. Do not go to any D1 camps. You can go to D3 camps and D2 camps only. Everything else will be a waste. Because every D1 camp is going to say, what's your showcase schedule? And he doesn't have one, and that will die. Now, once you get offers or interest, you can go to a D1 camp because when they say, what's your schedule? You say, I have offers, and then they'll pay attention to you. But you can't go to D1 without that. That does not work.
Now, assuming we work with you, you would be able to help explain all that to them or do all that?
Now, I'll never directly speak to the college coach for you because it's allowed, but I'll tell your son what to say for sure. I'm his dating coach. I'm going to have like a headphone in his ear, and I'm going to say, she's single, go talk to him, say the following, and do X, Y, Z.
All right, cool. So at least 5 camps. All right. Because he's been up ever since he was on that MLS Next team. They automatically registered him to NSCSA, and for the last 5 years he's been getting.
Yeah, those are all fake, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I know they're cash grabs, so that's why we haven't really paid attention to them.
Now, look, here's the good. Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to add, your son's good. He's going to get genuine interest to Division III schools, and those will not feel like a money grab, and they will be nice. You'll like them. The question is just, if he gets invited to 10, we're not going to all 10 of them. We want to be a bit, what do they have as major? Can they help him become a doctor one day? We want him to love the school, the coach, and that takes deliberation. I can't give you that answer today. My job is to start the initial part, which is, can we get interest, genuine interest? And then after that, we go, hey, like Emmanuel, you've never heard of Emmanuel. It's a great school. You never heard of Suffolk, another great school. There's a lot of really good D3 programs, have great educations, built for kids to go do pre-med, but you've not traditionally heard of them. So that's my job. I'm going to give you a list of schools. And then also you'll have your own list, which I'd love to see, and go, here's how we're going to approach those. Maybe we have to wait until we get more interest, and so on and so forth. And your UPSL thing makes things very different. Not to talk about NCSA or NCR, but they don't know what UPSL is. And I know it because I played pro for 10 years in America. And UPSL it's a big deal if you're playing UPSL Premier, I think. Do you know there's 2 divisions?
I know they do the Super Y in the summer.
Okay.
And they're going now to Tampa next month.
Okay, cool.
But he's on the older team. He's on the 07 team.
Okay, good. So we got to write that in the emails and such, because you're not simple. You're not typical. I play at this team and I play this club and I play this position. I play older. It's also UPSL, blah, 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 blah. It's more complicated. So we have to write that out. And like I said, the 1 hour call, we would do our best with that. So you could still run on your own. But I can't edit your videos. I can't talk to you continuously. So it's not my ideal situation. And then one last thing I'll just add before you. I
had a question too.
Yeah, no problem. Is the way my model works is if in 3 months of us working together, you're not being genuinely recruited by a D3 school or D2, then I refund you. And I say, look, my process didn't work. I'm sorry. I tried my best. And we go our separate ways.
All right.
Yeah, no, but please ask. Sorry.
My question was, now the software you have or you're working with Dean, you'll be able to steer him into a style of play like schools? Or is there a way to filter based on? Good question. Did you say academics?
Yeah, so I do all. Now, do I know every single school? There's 300 schools. But having said that's my job. So all I did this fall was sit in front of my TV and watch soccer. I go to the games in person. I talk to the coaches. And part of it, too, is the coaches will slightly change their model based off of them losing. So the real question is, hey, when they get on a call with your son, and they describe their model, if your son says, I don't want this, I'm never going to touch the ball, good for us to know. On the flip, like Amherst is a great, one of the best D3 schools, very high academic. They don't pass it. They just kick the ball. Now, they win all the time. So if you go, I want to win, that sounds great. So the answer to your question when it comes to style of play, yes, the team will have a methodology, but it's more important that the coach goes, you fit in my methodology. Let's say they kick it, but they kick it every time to your son. That's fun.
Okay.
So
I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
you get to say, just we want to make sure he's a part of the puzzle, not a piece on the bench.
I'm with you. And so we won't commit to any school. And on top of all of we're saying, your son, Dean, you're still going to apply to any school you want to go to pre-med school. You don't have to play college soccer anywhere you don't want to. The goal is for me that when you commit to a school, whether it's academically or soccer or both, you can say to yourself, I did everything I could to live my dream and I chose not to, versus I wonder if I had done XYZ and I wish I'd tried. This is to say, hey, I could have gone to this school. I could have gone to that school, but I also ended up getting into Villanova. Awesome. Go to school there. It's a great school. And also, side note, if you end up getting him in, we could talk about a walk-on. Walk-ons are not really realistic these days, but it's something we can talk about.
All right. Because ideally, we're trying to get my oldest to walk on, at least try out. Well, he is. He's trying to get the oldest to try to walk on.
What school is he going to?
NJIT.
Okay, it's really hard. I can give you guys advice. If we work with Dean, well, I'll make a separate document for your other son just because there's a step process you need to do if he's going to have any chance of that happening.
He's like that's Dean nagging him, but he's got one more semester and he's done.
Right. But he's committed, so he's a senior.
Yeah, he's a senior in college.
Oh, that's totally different.
For the last 3 years, Dean's been, why don't you just try? Don't give up. Why don't you try?
Right.
But like you said, Omar's got into the situation, just like you said, there's no regrets. There's no like, well, what if I should? What if I could?
Good, which is great.
All his friends are playing D1, Christ or Holy Cross School or something like that, and another one up in Albany.
Yeah.
And he's happy. He's finishing biomedical engineering, which is
amazing.
That's his pre-med program. That's what he's using as pre-med. So, all right, cool.
Amazing.
Let me, I got to figure out how we could do this.
Here's the last thing from me, and then I'll let you go. And if you have another question, you can ask it. Is I have to know if you want to work with me in the next 24 hours, just because I don't work with that many students. If in 24 hours you say, Zev, can we have another day? No problem. But if you ghost me, then I have to move on.
Even whether I'm going to use you or not, I'll let you know.
That's all I asked for. That'd be
it takes me a couple of days just to let this conversation sink in.
Yes.
And realistically, which package if we can use it. Because Field Up, Level Up, all this other NCSA, they have some of the stuff you're saying, but I don't think it's as intricate as what you're offering. So that's all that we're going to compare and contrast in our heads. But I think you're making it very simple, especially for him, especially with the academics. One thing we forgot to mention, which we should remember, our high school is one of the top 20 high schools in the state.
Cool. That is really helpful to know. Yes, that is very helpful to know.
So, and the fact dealing with what he's dealing with, and he's doing as well as he is, it says something about him. So we're going to want to make sure we get the best education and the best ability to look in the rear view and say, okay, look, it was a great ride, or, hey, I'm committing. When is the cutoff point for us? Like where we have to you know what, it's going to be too late.
Good question. The top academic D3s, like the top are done recruiting in August, September. You can continue on through that process. The real question is mostly going to come as we get the genuine interest. Are we getting interest from schools where we go academically, these fit, and I want to keep pursuing this? If you guys go, hey, we're doing this process with you, Zev, we're getting genuine interest, but some of these schools we want to go to and some of them don't, then you can go, we don't want to keep spending money on camps. It sucks. To give you a slight analogy, I don't run ads personally, but I was convinced to try it. And there's the sunk cost fallacy, which is if you just keep, you started it, so you may as well keep spending money on it. And I tried ads for a week and I thought, and it not only did it not work to attract people like you, but they said, well, if you just do it another week, it'll work. And I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm done. Even if it would have been successful later, I didn't like it. So similar, it's kind of, that's the headspace is Do you want to keep doing it? There is technically no cutoff date. The next week could be the successful team. Or you guys as a family go, look, we're done. We don't want to go any more camps. We've had enough of this nonsense. Thank you for your help. We're done. And that's part of the risk we take when we do this.
And D2?
D2 is very realistic, like I mentioned. The difference with D2 is, which is a little bit different, they can invite you to train with the team, which does not happen in any other division. The reason that's important is camps are used to get invited to training. And at training, if you do well, you get an offer. There is no debate at that. There's not like, I need to see you to show kid. You just train with the team. So they know whether or not you're good enough. And that happens in the spring. So to get invited to that has to be invited. You have to get invited to that by January. So you have about a month and a half for the D2 schools to go, can you come train with us in the spring? And then that's really important for the D2s.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. So we kind of need to pull the trigger within the next week or so.
Yeah. For my purposes, you have to let me know pretty soon in terms of recruiting and stuff. Yeah, you have to. And you, like you said, other people have my tools. Now the email system, no one has that tool because it's from your own Gmail. But the concept of it, right? Sending mass emails, that exists.
Yeah, well, it's gonna help him organize, and then obviously there's a fee for that. So not the fee, but there's a value there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want it, we want it to work.
Yeah, so I see the value in that to help him keep him organized.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Excellent.
All right, any questions? Do you have any questions for us by any chance?
My only question was the one I asked already, which your son did really well, which is, why do you think you're a good fit with me? Because we don't work with that many. And, depending on how you guys see this and fit, selfishly, I love your son's passion. And so I go, look, I want to give it a freaking whack. Meaning I think we'll be successful as long as you're open-minded to what we discussed. I'm going, we'll be successful. If you go, hey, we only wanted Division I anyways, I go, then I can't help you. But if you go, we're open-minded, then I want to rock and roll.
I mean, depending on the Division III. I mean, obviously, our target school for everybody, including him, because Dean spent 3 months in Argentina on his own as a freshman, playing there. So he wants to be close to home. That's one thing he learned, and we'd love to see him. So if he could be at NJIT, that'll be the only one, Division I, be like, Seth, we need you to do what you can to try to get him on that. But
so that's different. No, that's really helpful though, because if we have an idea, especially like NJIT, we can say so many things. My brother has been admitted. I live next door. Here's my video. I've already been recruited by, you need to be recruited by Fairleigh Dickinson's D3 school because they have a relation to coach their siblings. They know each other really well. So that's what we have to do.
Which Fairleigh Dickinson?
Fairleigh Dickinson has 2 programs. They have one D1 and they have one D3. And they all know each other. They're all freaking known each other since they were kids. So
one of the coach at the D1 is his old trainers.
Oh, excellent. So even further. And let's say that coach says, we really like you, but we don't see your fit. That's a college coach who rates your son really highly. We can use that for other schools. So we need to put that in the email. I'm actually drafting right now the email because if you work with us, you're going to work with my coaches and I have to tell you what to do. So I'm drafting what I think your email would be if you decide to work with us.
Okay. Then if I could screen share for a second, just let me escape for a second. So just to give you an idea of where Dean's been.
Let me share.
It's right here.
You're not sharing it.
All right, this is what I'm going to share. Okay, I'm sorry. That's why you're going to med school, not me. No. Just this, the table. I don't know if you're able to see.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm with you.
All right. So basically, that Cedar Stars North for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That's the St. Benedict's program.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with St. Benedict's.
Yes, for sure.
#1 high school. So so he was there for 4 or 5 years at the foundational age. Like he played U8 for 3 years. 3 years U8. So the foundation's there. But the problem with most of the St. Benedict's kids, they're great soccer players. Their GPA is like 0.1.
Yeah.
So and then then you'll see the pedigree. And so you see the pedigree, like Coach Landano used to play in Germany, Derek and Daryl Etienne.
Yep, of course. I played against him. He was at the Red Bulls for a bit.
Yes. So his dad and his uncle trained Dean for a lot more than what it shows here.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a quick cell phone call away. Hey, look, we don't know what we're doing.
Very
What do you
cool.
think? And he was the one that recruited Dean to that TSF MLS team. If you see back,
Yeah,
over
I see that.
further down, and then that's where he spent that 1 year in Mendoza, Argentina.
Cool. Wow, it's so cool.
And we finished the other half of the year in Cairo. Serbia for a week, but he was man enough to say, look, Dad, I don't like it here.
Yeah.
And which is honest, which that's why I kind of know we're feeling him out. He's being honest enough to tell us, hey, look, I like it here. I don't like it here. Open it up again. Maybe I have to. Okay. All right, cool. I just wanted to share that with you. So
yeah, no, thank you. I'm making a note of it right now, actually. This kid played at Red Bulls. So look, I kind of already have written bullet points here of what I want your email to look like, which is super important. I want to mention like your MLS Next stuff. Your brother went to NJIT. I want to talk about Daryl Edney. It's a big deal. Now, he's not going to do the process for you, but if you get interest and then we need him later, that's what you use as a reference.
Darren.
And I wanted the coach, you mentioned that's coaching the D1. I want them to be a reference for you too. And I want him as a reference in your email. So something we have to, I make a note of it. And, that's how I write my emails. We get pretty specific with those. And then we press send to a lot of schools. So I have to run. I'm so sorry.
I know it's a good. No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was really nice talking to you. I sent over an email with everything we spoke about. So you just have a copy of it. The last thing for me is this. Whichever option you decide is a link to all the above. When you decide, let's pretend you do the full model and we're with you full-time-ish, you're going to see a contract. And the contract basically says that if you don't show up to the meetings, Mr. Dean, we'll fire you. If your grades drop below a 3.5, we'll fire you. If you do not give us more video within 3 months, including a self-interview, we will fire you. And finally, if you don't get genuinely recruited by a school that you actually want to go to, then I fire myself. Deal?
All right, cool. Do you want training video too? I mean, in the room, in the weight room,
we will.
Like that?
Yes, we will put that on social media. We have a section for that for sure.
All right. So I told you to post it.
Yep, absolutely. Your dad's right. I have to run, guys. It's so nice talking to you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. Sorry about that. Or not sorry, but it took a little bit longer than I thought. What's up, everyone? Ticker Talk. Hello, Instagram. I think you're here too. I know you guys have probably some questions. Hello, Zev. Did you see my above comment? Sorry, guys. I've not seen anything. I've just been talking. Yes, it takes a long time to get a lot of good footage. Very well said. I'm 14. Should I be trying to make a highlight video reel? Yes, you definitely should. Would you be open to work with students who only want to go to top academics? Of course. That's the majority of my students. Pull up to Israel event U17 in Virginia. I won't be able to, Leo, but definitely send me video. I would love to see it. Contact the coaches who have messaged you. If I'm D1 soccer and got limited minutes, I'm entering the portal on Monday. What should I do? Call me, user. You have to call me. It's very complicated. We have a section for transfers. Thoughts on ESRL D1. You will not go Division 1, but that's awesome. You won the league. Okay, wait a second. Have a showcase this weekend with 3 D1 schools. Okay, that's different. Good job, since you're good. So you need to send video out, JP. Make sure they know who you are before the showcase starts. That's really good. It's very difficult. We did have a player recently commit to Utah Tech from ECNLRL, so it can be done. Okay, question. Do college coaches know each other? Absolutely, they all know each other. I'm a 16-year-old goalkeeper with a video. How can I get help? Click the link in the bio, and we can book a call. My team is playing in the GA Champions Cup. How can I see what coach will be there? It's not been announced yet, but email all the schools you are interested in. Do not wait for the list. Can I play college ball if I played 2 years JV? Yes, that's what I did. Any updates on 25s? No, other than it varies per school. AZ2632. I think I just answered your question. The list is not out yet, and you cannot wait for the list. You have to email the schools that you want, that you're interested in. What did you study in college? What did you do? I studied communication, and then I got my master's in sports administration. Mr. Creepy Uncle. Love your work. Thank you, Sally. Creepy Uncle. I mean, despite your username being weird, I do hire people to work for me. If you'd like to apply, there's a link on my website. I played D1 soccer, and I was ECNLRL. There you go, guys. Jack Stanton. What a legend. Jack, tell us your story. How did you do it? What can I do to play college ball if I played 2 years JV? Make a video, go to camps. I got a gift from Sully. Thanks, Sully. Thank you. You'll become the #1 gifter. What age does invites happen for the D2? sophomore after June 15th. Would you be open? Okay, I did that one already. Hey, I'm a student from Somalia who wants to play D2 College US. How can you help me? You can apply for a call. What should I try to get videos with no VO or anything like that? You need an iPhone then. Use your iPhone. You do work with JUCO colleges, right? And no timeline for recruitment. JUCOs are already late. M. Tracy, you're already late because the transfer portal is going to be open, but JUCOs, you could have already been emailing the schools, so you're behind. So yes, we do work with transfers. Book a call and we can talk about it. All right. I know you guys have questions. I'm just going to pull something up real quick. Okay. I can't figure out why I'm stuck at Easter. I'll swear I'm MLS next season. A lot of people always tell me to. I would need to book a call and see your video and see what your deal is. Do I have to attend ID camps that have a chance at college offer from a school? Yes. Freshman in college, any advice to play in college? I'll go knock on the door of the coach. Can I play high school ball if I only play high school? D3 maybe. Question, what is the best camera to use for film besides iPhone? Trace. How do I get more college? Just looking at me, I'm a senior next year, and I've had Penn State and Alfred. That's awesome. I need to see your video, the outdoors kid. All the kids from random clubs even joined my ECNL team, and I can't move up. JP, I would need to see video. Can you go D1 from EC4? No. Question, what is the best camera? Trace. Is D3 possible for senior? I played MLS Next, but I always have plan B. Yeah, D3 is possible. Yes. Is NAL good enough to get attention from college? Yes. D2, D3. And I'd be interested to volunteer for you. I've done so many things for myself. Creepy uncle. You can DM me on Instagram. Okay. I wanted to eat some food because I think I have a little break here. Let me see here. Okay, I have a little break, but I can chat with you guys for a bit. We can make some content at the same time. How does that sound, everybody? Let's make some content. Okay. Oh my goodness, my neck. Christ, I cannot do that. This is insane. Okay. All right. I'm going to answer you guys' questions. What is the difference between the kids that go to college kids versus kids that don't? The biggest difference is exposure. The kids that go to college, they usually get exposure. They go to camps. As a goalkeeper, what is very important as a player reaching out to coaches? As a goalkeeper, a training video. You're going to need a training video. Do college coaches care if you were invited to national camps for futsal? Yes, that's a big deal. My kid is starting middle school. Do you have a plan we can follow, sir? We take the right path. Yes, we do. If you click the link in the bio, you'll see a plan for below 7th grade and below. And the link in the bio has a website for you. Can you play D1 without a scholarship? Absolutely. Thoughts on Alfred State, New York? Very good school. Where do you play pro and college? I played pro in MLS in the USL, which is first and second tier. Then I played in Sweden. I played college at Valparaiso University. I have just DM'd you on Instagram. If you can please show any interest, it would be great. Andrew, if you DM me on Instagram, I'm not going to be able to see it. So click the link in the bio and book a call. I'm just not allowed to. You guys are under 18. That's the deal. Can you play D1 scholarship? So you can't play D1 soccer if you only play high school. Correct. It's not that you're not able to. Like, you might be good enough to, but you're not going to get recruited because no one's going to be able to see you. What app or website should I use for film? Trace. Trace is pretty difficult, though. Are you talking about editing film or recording film? VO or Trace is the best. I like Trace the best. Did D3 schools already start recruiting yet? Absolutely. They've been done recruiting, some of them. Could I play college ball and be in military at the same time? No. How do I improve confidence in football soccer? Go talk to Rick Fit. Yeah, of course. If you're Gatorade Player of the Year, of course you can play college soccer. That is true. And you did not have to play club for that. Do most players, high school players, only get recruited to D3? If you're only playing high school, yes. NAI or D3 or NCCAA. What about editing film? WeVideo.com is the best. Go talk to who? Rick Fit. He's a guy on TikTok. What is the best app for a website for editing film? WeVideo.com. Can you play D1 without a scholarship? My kid is starting. Do college coaches care if you were invited to national camps? Can you play D1 without a scholarship? James Jaggard. Hello, Mr. James Jaggard. Is this graduation year rule changing? Yes. Oh, it's undecided technically, but it's out of your control, guys. So I really wouldn't worry about it that much. You can't control it. Antonio Algarze, you have asked a lot of questions. Book a call. That's the only way I can help you from now on. Okay. I'm going to make some content, everybody. Going to make some content. Okay, let's make some content. Three things you need to do if you want to get a pre. Okay, ready. All right, so let's ask you guys ask me your questions and I'm gonna go through them. It's being voted tomorrow. That's correct. Oh, Zev, I see you, Zev, with tunes. Tunes? Do college coaches look at MLS Next more of the time? Yes, they do. Is the MLS Next Fest a good place to get recruited? Okay. Is MLS Next Fest a good place to get recruited? Yes, MLS Next Fest is an incredible place to get recruited. It's probably one of the most recruited events of the year. Generation Adidas might be the other one. There will be hundreds of college coaches. So if you're going to plan to go to MLS Next Fest, make sure not only do you send your emails to the schools attending, which may not be out yet or you may not be able to find it, but it doesn't matter. Send it to every school you are interested in addition to the schools you know may be attending. You may say, I only wanted to send to schools that I want to go to. For those of you that are sending out your first email, expecting coaches to come to your game without them knowing who you are, you're crazy. The reason you send your schedule out to college coaches is because before the showcase, maybe months before, you've already spoken to the coach. You've already gone on a visit. You've had a phone call. Then you tell them your schedule. Then they'll come to your game. Maybe you've been to their ID camp. Then they're going to come to your game. You cannot have your first initial message be, hey, here's my schedule, coach. Hope you come. They don't know who you are. They've got another list of kids they got to watch. They can only watch so many kids. You have to get in touch with these coaches before the showcase, well before the showcase. To get interest before the showcase, phone calls, of course, are important. ID camps can help you do that as well. And then you need to send them lots of video. So if you haven't already, you could send them a couple videos leading up to the showcase. But since now it's showcase time, you're going to have to send your schedule. Now, when you send the schedule, you're also going to want to have a pamphlet that you can hand out to the coaches. Your clubs will usually have one for you, but it's good to have one in your pocket in case you run by a coach. When you send the email out to college coaches, make sure you ask the question, may I shake your hand in person? Do not just send them your schedule. Ask a question. And that's the question to ask. If you want more help, comment, call, and we can schedule a call with you and your parents. Okay, good one, guys. My nephew is 16. He's on a one-year contract with a second division. Is MLS Next He's 16 on a 1-year contract with the second division. Is like before MLS. Are you talking about the USL? Is it on a USL contract? Yes, MLS Next Fest will be helpful. Guys, feedback, please. Do you think the change is going to happen? Yes, the change is going to happen. Is Trinity University good D3? Yes, it's very good. How do you play MLS Next like Nashville SC or St. Louis? You have to send them a video with your information. Is it 2.6 GPA affect soccer? Yes, you will not play at most 4-year schools. I stumbled across a kid on my YouTube, MLS Next player 4.5 and 35 ACT. Very good soccer player. He's looking for D1. Capilla CK. Oh, he's in Mexico. He's going to have to move to the United States. He's not going to be able to stay there. They will not recruit him. That's just how it works. It's not fair, but that's just how it is. If coaches think you're a bad fit for the team, do they ghost you? No, usually they'll tell you. They'll be like, we don't think you're fit. Like a kid got an email today being told that they're not a good fit for the team. So if that happens, you got to move on. Why do you guys want to play D1 soccer? Good question. Is DC soccer ECNL good? Yes. I have a 3.8. Good job, creepy uncle. Ramakalor. Capilla CK, if your son is really good and he's in Mexico, he's going to have to come to the United States at some point for some period of time because they're going to have to see him in person, and they're not going to see him in person, and no video will ever be enough for Division 1. So Capilla CK, if you want, book a call and we can talk about it. We do work with internationals, but it's complicated. It's the guy from Raging Waters. What's up, dude? Guys, I went to like a water park and this guy recognized me. That was so cool. How much should you be training to go D1? If you want training tips, go talk to Rick Fit. I just help you with recruiting. Can you talk a little about new NAL League, recruiting competition, and more? What do you want to know, Mr. Aditha? It's going to be competitive. There's going to be more showcases, which will be great, and you want to make video from there for sure. He has a tourist visa to visit the United States, I assume. That's great, but he's still going to have to go to showcases or he's going to have to go to ID camps to the D1 schools, 100%. Yes, let's book a call. Capilla, if you click the link in the bio, there's it explains my cost and how I work with internationals. It's very expensive for internationals, very difficult because I'm expensive for internationals and it's expensive for the process. But if you book a call, you'll get sent all the information on how I work with internationals. If I play UPSL and USL Academy, am I on the right route to go D1, D2? Yes, especially USL Academy, Rowan. That's good. Can some D3 schools beat D1s? Do they ever play? They do play each other. The short answer is the D1s will never play a D3 school that they think they could lose to because they will look really bad. But D3 schools could definitely beat D1 schools. Trinity or Trine is a school in the Midwest. They played Notre Dame, Northwestern, and Indiana. They lost, but they did play D1 schools. Is sending my high school highlights worth it for an academic D3? I play Israel. Absolutely. Definitely send it. 100%. Is sending my high school highlights. Okay. Should you send your highlight video if you're an ECNL player? Do that again. Should you send your highlight video if you're an ECNL player who wants to do a top academic D3 school? Should you send your high school highlight video to a D3 school if you're playing ECNL RL? The answer is of course, but you have to understand that your high school video alone will not be enough. It will be a good starting point, like absolutely send the footage. But highlight video is really not what they want. Like you can send them your club highlight video, which is what they want, and then they're going to want every touch videos from your high school because probably you're really good and you're one of the best on your high school. That's the video. So you can send your highlight video, but they don't really want that as much. What they really want are every touch videos. You send one highlight video a year, depending on how old you are, but only one a year. Every other video should be an every touch video or a zoomed in social media video clip. And if you're playing Eastern RL and you're aiming for D3, that's excellent. Like that's very realistic, depending on which school you go to. And that's smart because if you start with that, you're more likely to be successful, gain confidence, play better. But then also you can then be successful and then go reach out to the D2s, D3s later, depending on your grad year. The other thing is if you're a top academic ECNL RL player, you can start emailing the D3 schools, which would be really in your interest. If you want more help, call my call and we can schedule a call with you and your parents. Should you send your I have an idea, guys. I think you're gonna like it. How should I go about the MLS X Fest coming up as a junior? Caesar 2-pack. You should definitely send your schedule out. How does your program work for internationals? UK, Darko 7. Book a call in the link in the bio, and you'll be sent a video on how it works. What is the perception of Girls Academy compared to ECNL in the eyes of D1, D2? BS Conja. It is considered a lower level. 77% of girls that play D1 are from ECNL. However, many, many girls play D1 from GA. So the answer is it's still very likely to play D1 and very likely to play D2, and it's considered very good. It goes like this: ECNL, GA. Like, it's right underneath. So GA is a very high level, very good place to be. I would not necessarily leave, is my point. So is ECNL better than ECNRL? Yes. We can do that video. Let's see if that works. Is ECNL better than ECNL-RL? Many of you may go, obviously. But what is the real difference? ECNL-RL is kind of considered the B team, regional league, to National League ECNL, which is kind of the first tier. Now, there are many ECNL teams that are better than ECNL teams. There are many ECNL-RL teams that are better than ECNL teams. There are some ECNL teams that are way better than ECNL-RL teams. The real question you need to be asking yourself is, what events is your club going to? I just got off a call, and this kid is playing ECNRL, and he explained, we're the first place team in our league, and we're going to a showcase with a bunch of ECNL teams. Can I play Division I? I watched the video. I saw the kid. He's definitely Division I. We just had a player commit to Utah Tech from ECNL-RL. You can totally play Division I as an ECNL-RL player, but not if you're just on any team. You have to go to showcases. You have to make video. You have to go to ID camps. You have to be seen many times over. College coaches don't care what club level you're at if you're good enough to play at their level. What they care about is, are you going to be at the events in which they're going? So if you're playing EDP or E64 or whatever. Sorry, TikTok. If you're playing ECNL or whatever, RL, whatever, the coaches don't care what club level you're at if you're really, really good. Now, they can assume if you're playing for a high-level team, you're better, and they want better players. But it really matters the exposure. So you have to talk to your club, what showcase events are you going to, and then you as yourself have to go to ID camps. If you want more help, if you want a list of all the camps that I recommend, comment camps, and I'll send you an entire list of every single ID camp that I recommend. Is ECNL... Are D2 school sports programs generally less funded than D3? Interesting. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure, per usual. My team plays in U15 College ID Showcase, and coaches will be attending it. How should I go about that? Like, greet them or hope they come to me, or they will not want to a U14? You should email them, Matthias Ballin. Email them for sure. Some of them will come to you, some of them won't. I got to go, guys. It's been a true pleasure, per usual. If you have questions, comment, call on any of my videos, or just you can DM me, but I'll send you to my website, which is CollegeSoccerGuy.org, so we can schedule a call. It's been a pleasure, as I said, and I will talk to you all very soon. Oh, camps. JS Kant, that's a TikTok I just made. It's not out yet, but when the TikTok comes out, you'll get access to it, I promise. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. I'm from Canada. Is that also a factor? Yes, that's a really big factor. You have to book a call. How should I go about MLS Next Fest coming up as a junior? Okay, I did that one. Okay, goodbye, everybody.